morning, and thank you for joining Yankee Chronicles Ladies Edition. I'm here with Lynn. Today we have a special guest, Andrea LaMont. Andrea, if you want to give us
Hello, I'm the other one.
Yep, Andrea is a fantasy baseball expert who analyzes, writes about, podcasts, and plays fantasy baseball. She is the content strategist, web developer, and managing editor at Lenny Melnick fantasysports.com, and just there's a list as long as your arm. She's the Roto Lady at Roto Lady on Twitter, a fantasy baseball analyst and co-host of Lady and the Legend on SiruisXM, and a whole host of other accolades, including being the first female to compete in Tout Wars 2015. I want to mention that for sure. And I'm sure there's a lot of female firsts in this list, actually. Fantasy baseball writer at Bleacher Report, fantasy baseball draft guide contributor, and like I said, the list just goes on and on. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Okay, thanks for having me so much. It's fun to be here.
It's so great to have you. Like I said, when I started researching you, I've known Andrea for a couple of years as a fantasy baseball expert, and I would say guru more than expert, because she's the best. And I had no idea that she had done so much in her career. So we're going to have her tell a little bit about herself. How did you get interested in baseball and in pursuing a career in it?
Well, it was kind of an accident, really. I met Lenny. I found Lenny because I was working. I had a fantasy baseball league that I was playing in at work, and I was trying to beat the guys and I was looking for information online, and I ran across Lenny's podcast, and that was in 2008. So Lenny and I became friends, and we met at Arizona Fall League, and we stayed friends for a couple years. And then it, just happened from that. But that's pretty much how I started. I met Lenny, and he's been podcasting and doing radio for 25 years. So it was kind of like just natural to end up there. He actually, to be honest with you, I wanted to get into Tout Wars really bad. Everybody wants to get into Tout Wars. If you're fantasy baseball, you're aware of what Tout Wars is. And so I wanted to be in it. I applied to get in it, and you have to have a certain number of years of writing and experience. So I did that. And then Lenny would not stop. He was on Sirius Radio, but he would not stop with the producer or the man, our station manager. He was like, we need to have a show together. You need to have Andrea on your channel, blah, blah, blah. She's a woman. She could do this. If I didn't have Lenny, I would not even be here.
Right.
In a lot of different ways, but especially with the fact that he is on top of it. It's like my own personal PR guy, right?
Yeah.
That's what I have in Lenny. So that's kind of how we got on Sirius. We've been doing Sirius for about 5 years now.
Yep.
And, we travel around. We go to Arizona for the Fall League every year. We try to anyways. Some things happen. You can't get there every year, but most of the years we go there. And then we go to Florida for spring training, and we just talk baseball and write baseball and play fantasy. That's my life. It's fantasy life.
Fantasy life. That's fantastic. I love it. I saw that you have a bachelor's degree in sports management.
No. I was going to school for that for a while.
You were going to school for that?
Where did you find that? I need to update
I found that on, I think it was, it might have been on Wikipedia. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I found it on the internet.
Okay. I was going to school for a while for sports management. I never finished it.
Oh, okay. When you're interested in sports management, did you find that there were many other women that had that interest?
No.
I wondered about that when I saw that.
So being a woman has helped me, and I've never experienced any type of discrimination or anything. Actually, it's opened way more doors than not. I don't think it's always been like that in the sports industry, but right now they're welcoming women, and they have been for a while now. When I think that people assume that because you're a woman, you get treated different than you do if you're a man in the sports industry. And I'm sure you do to a point. You have to have tough skin, right? And you have to, but I look at it like the glass half full. I'm using being a woman to get me in, as an asset. If I was just a guy that loved baseball as much as I do, I find that there's a 300 or 3,000 other guys that like baseball as much as I do. So that's the one thing that I have that sets me apart from other people. So I've used it to my advantage, not saying that in a good way. I accept it and I like it. And so when I first started playing in Tout Wars, I was the first woman. That's probably partially why I was included that year or accepted, because they wanted some diversity. I've been playing in that league ever since. I definitely compete with all the guys. They cannot just beat me because I'm a girl, but I do get some pretty bad trade offers. Like sometimes they only make bad trade offer one time, to me. They figure out, no, she's not going for it. I always think it's because I'm a woman, but I think everybody gets bad trade offers in fantasy. Sometimes people start high when they're negotiating and they start at one end or the other. So I just assume that it's because I'm a woman and they think I'm stupid, but I don't know if that's true, really. That's it.
I think that this is definitely a great time to be a woman breaking in. You broke in over a period of years, but there's never been a better time for it to happen.
For sure.
Tell us how you go about your business. Obviously, you watch baseball. What do you do as far as preparing, say, for your podcast? What do you look at? What sources do you go to?
I listen, if you can believe this, I still listen to Lenny's podcast Monday through Friday. Every morning at 9:00, I listen to his podcast, and he's full of information. He gets up at 4 a.m. and he looks through all the newspapers. So he really does a lot of the work. We get together from 9 to 9:30 in the chat room. We all talk baseball. I get my information from there. Of course, Lenny and I talk baseball all the time, but we very rarely ever sit down and watch a game of baseball.
Right.
It seems like nowadays you just don't have time to sit. If you're at the game, it's one thing. You could do with that. But if you're at home, you have other things to do. Baseball is easy to watch that way because you don't have to see every move. But mostly I watch the highlights. They have the condensed games on MLB. And if I want to see like the action or I want to watch a pitcher, I could easily go to MLB.com and see there. They have great video now.
Yeah.
I also use RotoWire as one of the original fantasy baseball websites.
Okay.
They do a great job there. Every year they add new things to this website, so it's mostly for fantasy, but you can get all kinds of stats. And I use Fangraphs. I read The Athletic a lot, and those are the three main sites that I go to for my information.
Yep. That's great. I'm always looking for other alternative sources of information. I'm always trying to get the edge, so to speak, find things out.
Yeah, well, so RotoWire, Lenny, the guy that owns RotoWire, Jeff Erickson, he was really young, just coming into the business, and Lenny kind of took him under his wing when he first started, and now he's got this great website. He's had it for years, but this was way back. Lenny's nice to everybody when they come in. He always wants to help people. And so this guy he's never charged Lenny one time for any, the cost of the subscription for RotoWire.
Right.
Lenny's never paid one time. Like every year he just calls up Jeff, hi, da-da-da. He's like, okay, nice to talk to you. All right. And then he does our subscription, but you can get batting orders. That's a big deal, to find the batting orders. You can find out stats. You could read articles. You could pretty much see anything that you want to see. Depth charts, everything, prospects, you name it, it's at RotoWire. I sound like a freaking commercial. I should tell Jeff.
I just wrote it down.
It's a great website, even for people that aren't fantasy people. It's great for baseball information, for sure.
Well, that's what I thought. I've looked at RotoWire before, and I recently discovered Baseball Savant. I can't believe how long it took me to. I guess I thought it sounded like it would be over my head.
What about Baseball Reference? And there's a part of Baseball Reference called StatHead. I don't know if you're familiar with.
No.
It's
No.
stathead.com. Okay, if you have a subscription to it, I think it might be no, it's not Baseball Perspective. It's one of them. You can find out any stat. You can narrow down the filters to like literal actual games, players, teams. You can put in all kinds of different information. So like if you're ever playing trivia, it's a great way to cheat because you can you can figure it out, who's the only pitcher to ever come in the second inning and throw 4 innings and win the game or whatever, something like that. That's
right.
So obscure that you could never find it. StatHead.
Oh
real.
My God. I'm going to check that out immediately.
Yes.
I try using Fangraphs. A lot of times Fangraphs is over my head, but
there's a lot of stats on there.
There's a lot of stats on there.
Yes. MLB does a good job, with their stats. You can, you can't filter as much, but you can definitely get a good number of stats. Yeah. Also, I like to watch games right on MLB at the game day. Is it game day or is it whatever it is? It looks like a cartoon on the screen and you could see the batter up at the plate and you can actually watch the pitches. You're standing behind home plate when the game is live. It's not like real live TV, but it's kind of in a cartoon type of way, the video game looking thing. You could see everything going on. All the information that you could possibly need is in there, for free.
That's so interesting. Wow. Tell us what team, and obviously today you have a Yankee hat on. You're a Yankee fan. That's
hard for me still. But yes, I'm trying to train myself into being a Yankees fan after a lot of years of really, I don't know if hate is the right word. It's like your rival is, you love to hate them. You need them though.
You need them.
You need them to love the game as much. I actually started to love baseball because I hated the Yankees. I couldn't stand the Yankees. I was like, who is the biggest enemy of the Yankees? It's the Red Sox. And then the Red Sox just got me because right after that, they won the World Series that year when, and it was like a miracle.
Yeah.
It was such good baseball that, so anyway, I live in New York. I'm not a Red Sox fan anymore. I'm training myself to like the Yankees. I do respect a lot of things about the Yankees. They're not doing that good right now, though, are they?
Lynn, shall I leave that to you? Dare you answer?
I know. Should I have even said that? That's probably bad.
No, you absolutely should because first of all, it's obvious, and second of all, Yankee fans and actually, to your point, Andrea, Yankees are held to a very high standard. And so whenever there is even a dip, let alone a dunk like now, it becomes the news of the century.
Sure.
Yeah, and especially coming into this season, all the projections, speaking of data, were really validating that this is the team, of the century. And that they're going to go all the way, which is dangerous to say early on, and that projections are only that. But, even just looking at the roster, even just at spring training, looking at the bucket full of people to pick from, players to pick from for the roster, we were loaded. And for the first time in a long time, our pitching, when has it been this powerful and as deep a rotation and bench in the bullpen? But here we are.
You guys had a lot of risk going on.
A lot of risk.
I mean, your starting pitcher had the potential to be great, but 2 of your starting pitchers in the rotation had not pitched more than 10 innings in the past 2 seasons. So it was risky in Kluber and Taillon. You had 2 great pitchers, but with very questionable health. Now, okay, the Yankees, I think here's my player of the week. Can I just say my player of the week?
Okay, sure. Go.
Severino is my player of the week because he was I was telling everybody just yesterday, I was like, you got to go get Severino immediately in fantasy because there does not come along a pitcher as valuable as Severino. And out of all these pitchers that are coming back from Tommy John right now, like Syndergaard and Chris Sale, and like really good pitchers expected to come back in the second half, all of them have been hurt. Okay, all of their road back has been stopped by some kind of injury or whatever. Severino was on his way. I was so excited, and now I feel that is a huge problem for Yankees because you needed him so bad. Do you guys think that you'll invest in a pitcher? You guys are so close. I already know how close you are to the tax threshold, okay? You guys are really close. You can't even really afford $15 million player. So maybe you could definitely work something out where you don't have to pay that right up front, and then you could absorb these costs next year, right? But do you think that you're going to address the starting pitching? I'm asking you questions now.
Yeah, I don't. I don't see Cashman making that move.
Because you don't think that your hitting is good? Like you guys, think that they don't think they can win.
I don't think they can win. That's my opinion. And I was looking
this
week.
Voigt's coming back. Luke Voigt, he'll be back.
Voigt's coming back. Britton's back. Chapman is letting us down. I mean, some things are happening that are just, the offensive statistics of the Yankees are pathetic.
Like everybody, though, is pathetic. Just remember, everybody is pathetic.
But the Yankees are, I wrote it down this morning. I was looking at the team stats, and they're awful. They're, 7.5 games back today. That, just to say that, breaks my heart.
Look who they have. The Red Sox aren't going to keep this up.
You're not going
to keep this up. There's no
but
way.
I said that a month ago about the Red Sox, and they've still kept it up.
It's only a third of the way through the season.
Rosenthal had an article this week in the Athletic, and he said that from the players to management, the Yankees' struggles are an organization-wide failure.
Do you think that Aaron Boone has something to do with this? My opinion is that he's too much of a sissy. For lack of a better word, he's a player's manager, and he doesn't say, like, you need to be benched until you get your shit together and start hustling. Like, he never does that. He's always, like, trying to find the good things. And I feel like if he would just take his team and he would – I don't know. Well, I'm not in the dugout, so.
Yeah, none of us are. But, the other side of that is you don't know how much you are from the strings attached from Cashman.
What about Girardi, though? Girardi, I just think, is a great manager.
Girardi, don't get me started on Girardi. He's my all-time true love.
Yeah, he's my all-time favorite.
Excuse me. But yeah, two very different managers, obviously. And, with Boone, I don't know enough about him to know what's temperament versus what's being a soldier and being told how to treat these players as a manager. Just to be fair, we know Cashman is a bit autocratic, to say the least, in my point of view. And so I wonder if he's being held, under the gun in some ways. But whichever it is, it's completely frustrating because, especially those of us that did come up from childhood as Yankee fans, I remember, being at games with Billy Martin as manager.
Oh my gosh, I can't even. It's so fun. Why don't we have any managers like this?
Exactly.
We need more of these Ozzie Guillen type.
Yeah.
Like just guys that are willing to like scream at you if you're not.
Yeah.
Gary Sanchez, if you're not running out hits, and you're not hustling for the ball.
Right. And it's being blamed on the players, which there's no doubt. I mean, the numbers don't lie, but at the same time, the morale is not there. You can just see it even watching in the dugout. They look really beaten, but it's not because they don't care. I don't think they're being led.
I think that's exactly right.
Supported.
Maybe they don't have camaraderie like they used to. Because Gleyber Torres, like these guys, he was kind of a highly touted prospect, but other guys that you didn't think would be as good as they are, that like kind of took over for the Yankees at a time when they needed players like Ursula and guys like that you didn't expect to be getting a lot out of them, but that they've really come through. It doesn't seem like they have the camaraderie that they did. That maybe that was 2 years ago in 2019. But whatever, the season is too young to be giving up on the Yankees. I think they might invest in something. Andujar's hitting.
Andujar's hitting. He's I've currently, that's my only other Yankee jersey. I've got Judge on today, and Andujar's my other one. So I love what's going on with Miggy. He's it's a challenge out in the field still, but you can't help but love the results that we're seeing at the plate.
Forget the defense, okay? Forget it. Just if you can hit. I mean, Stanton and Judge, when they hit a couple home runs in one game. Like, they're so sporadic. But if you could get just a few weeks or 1 month with Judge, Stanton, Andujar, maybe DJ LeMahieu starts hitting and getting on base and stuff. He needs to get on base. He's just such a disappointment. Anyway,
he cleared the bases.
You have the talent on your team to hit.
Yes.
That's all.
That's what's frustrating. That's why Yankee fans are calling for them to clear the coaches. Like,
they are. Yankees fans are so impatient too.
They are so impatient.
They were throwing trash. They like to throw trash on the freaking. They like to throw trash.
Yes.
We're spoiled.
Well, and again, there's that, that standard. For example, Stanton is frustrating for me as a Yankee fan. Over the weekend, he sits on the bench because there's no DH in interleague play.
So what that means? No, hold on a minute. The fact that he's even sitting on the bench when there's no DH, really? Is he that freaking bad in the outfield?
Is he fragile?
He is fragile, dude. He's fragile. He's freaking fragile. Shine it all.
I agree.
He's hit like 5 home runs in 3 years and shit.
But when he hits, man,
totally.
The length and the velocity of those home runs he puts out, but we can't sit around and wait for that.
No.
But that becomes a little bit of the double-edged sword, I think, with him. And
Andrea, did you see where Judge is out of the lineup today?
No, I didn't see that. I'm not surprised.
Back spasms. Did you see that, Lynn?
For real, dude?
Yes. He's he might be available to pinch hit, Boone said.
See, now, this is where I think being mad is legit. Because
absolutely, you pay
some Ben Gay or Icy Hot or whatever the fuck over your back.
Yeah, you're getting paid $35 million. Okay, you're getting paid $35 million. Put a Band-Aid on it and get out on. That's what they do in football. That's what they do.
Yeah,
they have masseuses and medical people and
painkillers.
People. Yeah, exactly. No, I don't play with that. And okay, expletive number 1 of the cast.
Expletive number 1. And also, I don't want to forget to mention that this was the week of the Josh Donaldson versus Garrett Cole matchup. And we don't want to forget to mention that in fact, Andrea, it was because of you I knew about this to begin with. You mentioned the Sports Illustrated article about foreign substances, and that opened my eyes to a lot. And then Donaldson comes out with his, claims against pitchers like Garrett Cole.
Right.
What do you all think of that matchup?
Well, I think that, first of all, leaving Donaldson there for a minute, I don't know who it was in the Zoom room that asked Garrett that question. Maybe, do you either of you know?
I saw the answer. I saw the response to the question.
I did too.
I'd really like to track that person down.
Why?
And go Bronx on them. Because they knew what they were doing to him. And I just found that to be, if you're that hard up to get some airtime, and, play afterwards, then what are you really doing with your life?
The media in New York is freaking, what's the word? They're harsh. They're
hard.
They're like, if you don't have thick skin, you can't even be an athlete in New York. That's first of all. But you should hear the way they talk to Trevor Bauer right now in LA. They're talking to him about his spin rate and stuff like that. You see, Garrett Cole knows that he's using it. Bauer knows that he's using it. Everybody's using it. And the reason that they're using it is because nobody enforces the rules. Bauer called him out 2 years ago. You know that Bauer and Cole went to college together. The two of those pitchers went to college together, and they do not like each other. So there's always been this feud between Bauer and Cole. Mm-hmm. Bauer said in 2018, it's pretty obvious what's going on here. So either enforce the rules. It would be nice if the pitchers were all on a level playing field, but they're not. Some of them are using it because they know they can, and others feel bad that they don't feel right about using it because they know that it's cheating. So the problem is, though, when you have people making hundreds of millions of dollars and other pitchers, like, their career is over if they don't use it, you're forced into using sticky substance. It doesn't have long-term effects on your health or anything like that. So Cole did not know how to answer that question. What was the question anyway? Something about, did you ever use sticky substances?
Yeah, I think it was pretty point blank. Did you ever use spider tack, maybe even?
Right, spider tack specifically.
Yeah.
He was Garrett Cole was in a specifically harder place because he represents the players. He's, the CBA, one of the CBA designees for the players, which
so
I'm sure
does Max Scherzer.
MO of asking the question to begin with.
Oh, they're going to ask the question because, and you know why they ask him? He's the best pitcher. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. One of the top 4 pitchers. So they are going to get scrutinized the most about this. And, one manager, his name was Bubba Harkins or Brian Harkins. He used to work for the Angels for 30 years. He was recently fired, and he was fired for actually preparing sticky substance for the players, for visiting players. And he filed a lawsuit against the team saying that he was basically like the scapegoat. Okay. Right. He took, we're going to put all the blame on you. Nobody else knows anything about it. Like, you're the bad guy. He sues the Angels, and the paperwork comes out and in court, and it's got text messages from Garrett Cole. Max Scherzer is also on the Players Association board. Verlander was in there. These texts going back and forth about I need some sticky stuff, and everybody's using it.
Right.
I don't think that people think you're a cheater pitcher because you're using it. I think it sounds like that maybe, but everybody's using it, and they're going to use it until MLB does something about it. That's the bottom line. Pitchers like Cole, though, he's going to stay good. His spin rate, Cole has not increased nearly what Trevor Bauer's spin rate has increased. Bauer's spin rate's 17% increase.
Right.
Cole is only 4% or 5% increase.
Okay.
It's not that big of a deal. And when you add velocity to your pitches, it automatically ups your spin rate. So some of that is absolutely natural. And what's going to happen to all the pitchers that just use the basic stuff to get grip like they always have, like Rosin and the Bullfrog, that actually hitters don't even mind it. What's going to happen?
Don't mind it. Josh Donaldson minded it.
He doesn't mind. No, he doesn't mind the pitching, pitchers using it to grip the ball.
Right.
Because no hitter wants to be hit with a wild pitch in the head.
Right.
Although that's happening crazy amount this year, even with all the sticky stuff. But Donaldson is even Charlie Blackmon came out and he was I have to tell myself not to hit what I'm seeing because the ball is like a freaking wiffle ball. That's what it's looking like. There's this much sticky stuff. They say they could see that the grip of the ball, the laces is completely ripped off from this stuff. Okay.
Oh my God.
I mean,
that's incredible.
It's made for people climbing rocks and to hold on to the rock.
Right, but where does the dead end ball come into play in all of this, though?
MLB changed the ball.
Well, no. I mean, in terms of what you just said, Andrea, about the wiffle ball effect. Is that really a function of the sticky stuff or a combination of the sticky stuff and this lightweight fake ball we have now that is really, we know impacting production offensively.
For sure. So baseball, MLB should just stop messing around with the baseball. That would
Hooray,
that
I
would be the
agree.
first thing. Even Donaldson said, you know, if MLB would just stop using sticky stuff is the one constant. Okay. The ball is never constant. Pete Alonso from the Mets, he thinks that MLB changes the baseball depending on the free agent class that's coming up and the quality.
I saw
so if it's a bunch of good hitters coming up, free agents, they will make the ball. And this year specifically was the first time that they actually told us before the season that they had made changes to the ball. It wasn't going to travel as far, right? So they're doctoring the way they make the baseball so that it doesn't travel as far when you hit it. And that on top of the fact that now there's just like all these great sticky substances, concoctions, right? That even MLB is making their own sticky substance. They know that they need to have a ball that's easier to grip, like, so they're working with things, but you know, until once they come up with something, it'll be, you can use ours, but no other one.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Do you think that maybe in the CBA that's upcoming, that they'll address that issue and come up with a standardized sticky stuff?
For sure.
I'd be good with that because it should be normed across all teams.
Absolutely. Yes. And these rules should have been changed years ago. Like, they need to be more clear in these rules. They've been, you know, the actual rule says something like, you can't deface the ball. You can't like add stuff to it that changes its color, its appearance, or like, you know, that's really the rule. It's so vague anyway. Yeah. But the combination of the ball being changed, okay, along with the crazy amount of unbelievable sticky stuff is making a big difference. But the reason that they are using this spider tack so much is because it adds spin rate. And what spin rate brings is movement, late movement. So if you have a lot of spin and you could add RPMs to your spin rate, you will have late movement on your ball. So what's coming at, you know, the later the movement on the ball, the better. But it kind of, the more sticky stuff, the like more powerful the sticky stuff, it starts to look like a wiffle ball coming at you as a hitter. Right. These hitters are so frustrated. They're like, it's pointless to even be here because we can't see what's coming. The ball is like doing all kinds of weird stuff. And these pitchers are throwing 100 miles an hour every time now. Yeah. Because the grip makes them feel confident that they can do that. There's already like 20 Tommy John surgeries just this year already. People are throwing their arm out, no question about it. So that's it. It's a combination of trying to get the movement, late movement, and the spin rate, all of that. I know there's still pitchers using the grip stuff just to have grip. When it's cold outside, you can't hold the ball good. And when your hands are sweating in the summer, that is a good way for the ball to slip out of your hands. And there's pitchers out there that aren't trying to be like the king of spin rate, you know, but these are the pitchers that are getting paid. And that's the way it is. That's what you do. You do what you got to do to get paid, right? Right. So we'll see what happens, but they're saying that the umpires are going to come out and check the pitcher whenever they want, or like when the pitcher leaves the mound. Like, really? Wait a minute. Don't forget the goal here is to like make baseball more enjoyable to watch.
Exactly.
You mean they could have pat down the Astros last year?
It's going to be like a freaking airport security, dude. TSA and stuff.
Seriously.
Oh, my God. It's true. But Cole got his revenge on Donaldson because he struck him out twice. And I think Donaldson went 0 for 3 on the day. He didn't get a hit.
No, he didn't.
So, yeah. And Cole got his revenge in the right way.
And Mr. Nice Guy threw a lot of shade every time Donaldson was at the plate. He put up that Chapman smirk at the end and tipped his cap, like, look underneath it, you know. That was something I definitely noticed.
Yep.
It was really, really amusing. But that series was just, let's not relive the series.
Yeah, let's not relive that series.
I mean, that was satisfying, though, so that was good. That was satisfying.
That was. Have you guys seen today's lineup?
Well, now I know Judge isn't in it.
Yeah, with Judge out of the lineup, it looks like this. LeMahieu at first base, Torres shortstop, Odor second base, Urshela, obviously, at third base, Sanchez, Gardy, and Frazier. Now, what genius thought that batting Odor third was a good idea?
Or is it a lefty that you guys? Is it a lefty?
It's Aaron Nola.
No, he's not a lefty.
Aaron Nola. So, I mean, I hate this lineup.
Where's Gleyber Torres? He's second. Okay,
He's second.
Who's cleanup?
Sanchez
Urshela.
is in the 5 spot. Urshela's in the 4 spot.
The most happy fella.
The most happy fella. But I mean, I look at this lineup and I just go, ugh. But then they usually win when I do that.
So Domingo Germán is in the lineup because they're playing at Philly.
It's Germán and Nola. Now I looked up some numbers on Nola, and it seems like he's the Phillies ace, but he's not having a spectacular year.
He's probably not using sticky stuff. He's a good pitcher, though.
Yeah, no, I know he is. But he's having a pretty mediocre year. He's 4-4 with a 4.06 ERA. And I looked up this article that I read. Phillies beat writer said that he's been pretty mediocre. So that's not me talking, actually.
No, he's a
I
good
don't
pitcher.
know.
So are you guys about to get swept?
I think, well, yes, that's where by the freaking Phillies.
Right. Harper doesn't even have 20 RBIs on the season yet.
Yeah.
It's been horrible. But I'm not trying to be rude or anything. But you'll probably win today.
Well, it's funny. Whenever I hate the lineup as much as I hate this one, they usually do. They usually find a way to make me look bad. You know?
Why do you hate it so much? Because you don't like Odor hitting third?
I don't like Odor hitting third. I don't like LeMahieu. Whenever they play LeMahieu anywhere but second base, that pisses me off.
Who normally plays first then?
Well, we've got Chris Gittens up right now. He's rookie. They just brought him up, 2 weeks ago, Lynn?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago they brought him up.
And he's yet to record his first hit.
He's really bad.
Yeah.
I'm really looking at him right now.
He's not in the lineup, I'm sure, for that reason.
He has potential. He has to settle in the big leagues. To me, that's
sure. It's a lot of pressure coming up and being a Yankee.
Right.
There's a lot of pressure involved in that, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And he was on fire in the minors, and it was a good move to sign him. We have to be patient with.
Did you just sign him?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, and he came up, and it was a Saturday. I don't even remember who we were playing 2 Saturdays ago.
So what about Aaron Hicks and Clint? What is wrong with Clint Frazier? I mean, I thought when he got playing time, he would start being good. He's horrible.
I know he has been horrible. I don't know that anyone has an answer for that. I always wonder, though, is Clint a head case? He seems like it might be a head case.
You remember Greg Bird?
Oh, I love Greg Bird. I was on the Bird train forever.
The Bird train? When did it crash for you?
Well, it crashed for me when, I don't know. It took a long time.
One guy that I love that I wish would play, and I always even liked him even when he was a Yankee. He was a first baseman, and now he's on TV. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Longer ago, like the 90s Yankees?
Like the 2012, 13, maybe 2015. He's a younger guy, kind of like nice, really personality, lots of personality. He's on NBC now, or God, what was his name?
Too late for Tex.
Teixeira. It was after Teixeira.
Yeah, it's too late for him.
Let me look back into the Yankee stats, and I'll be able to tell you. But I could do that while you guys are talking.
Well, first base has been a problem for the Yankees since Teixeira left. I mean, there was the Chris Carter experiment, which I've never forgiven Cashman for.
Who? Chris Carter?
Chris Carter. He had hit a bunch of home runs the year before. And then
Jay Bruce. Didn't you have Jay Bruce? Was it Jay Bruce?
We had Jay Bruce.
The experiment? Yeah, the Jay Bruce experiment.
We had the Jay Bruce experiment.
Let me see.
He did not hit with us, and he didn't play a good first base.
And he was a classy guy and stepped down and retired.
Yes.
I love Mark Teixeira, right? He's pretty good.
We love Mark Teixeira. Are these Yankees going to the playoffs?
Well, if you go by the majority of opinion I've been seeing on Twitter, they think a wild card is like even a fantasy at this point. So it depends on who you listen to, because I think it was on the pregame yesterday. By the way, the pregame on picks was surprisingly excellent.
Oh.
I didn't catch the host's name, but he was really on point with everything. And they, he had on some, he had on as a guest some another one of the projection data people, who says it's ridiculous to write them off at this point, kind of like what you were saying earlier, Andrea, and gave all these reasons and numbers that would back it up for why it's too soon to say maybe the wild card. And he, predicts that we're actually going to go all the way. What do I think personally? It's hard to be subjective. I think if we get anywhere, it's going to be the wild card. And if we get the wild card, then I think all bets are off and they go all the way.
Okay.
But the wild card to me is the hurdle.
Right. I was feeling,
independent.
Until yesterday, I would have said that the Yankees could make the wild card or the playoffs. But, without Severino coming back, this pitching staff worries me a lot. I mean, we don't know what's in store for Kluber. We only can assume he'll be back, and will he be back to no-hit form? I mean, this season. Now we don't have Severino to count on to take Tyone's spot. Tyone's obviously not going to be he's not going to be the rotation piece we hoped he would be. So I'm worried, frankly, about making the playoffs.
And even if we get Kluber back, he came back from injuries.
Yeah.
History of injuries. And now this one on top of it. And so, if we want any life out of him, I think maybe we shouldn't be rushing him back with the hope that we get something a little bit out of him next year, if possible. I'm worried about him, them talking about him back in August. So I just hope the right decision for him is made, because he's taken too much damage on. I don't know about recovery.
The freaking injured list is it's crazy this year. It's not when you look at any team, it just looks like a freaking mess. Here's what I say to make you guys feel better. Okay, about the Yankees. The run differential that usually evens out over a full season, the Yankees have an even run differential, which is interesting, but they're only a couple games back, literally 3 games back from Tampa, 2.5 games back is the Red Sox. So the Red Sox are technically only a half a game ahead of the Yankees, and the Yankees are pretty much tied with Toronto. Toronto's the team to beat in this division as far as I am concerned.
Worries me.
And if they get another starting pitcher, it's on. But still, there's 2 wild cards, right? So you look at the American League Central. Cleveland is a half a game behind the White Sox right now. I think it's really fun that a lot of teams are within only a handful of games to make the wild card at this point. I mean, a lot is going to happen between now and the All-Star game. But the Yankees, they need a pitcher. They really need like an innings. They need Jose Barrios, dude. They need somebody like that is going to eat innings. And where's Davy Garcia? Yeah, and Severino, is he done for? He's got a lower body injury. Is this like he's out for the season? I mean, I don't even
look. Groin strain.
3 kinds of groin. Oh, sorry, Chris.
Oh no, you go ahead.
There's 3 kinds of groin injuries, and we're waiting to hear.
Raid,
1, 3. One, he's back.
To get helped off the field, that is what concerns me, dude.
Yes.
Right, but my hope is, it's going to be like that. I haven't ever had a groin injury, but I would imagine that's whether it's 1, 2, or 3, that would be the level of pain and the inability to carry yourself. It's kind of
I don't think so. I don't think so. Because, well, Chris Sale is dealing with groin injuries. If he pitches, he gets a sore groin, and then he stops for a while, you know, and then his rehab is on hold. But the fact that he had to get carted off the field, Severino,
Yeah.
that is no bueno.
No.
Well,
No bueno.
I'm not saying it's bueno at all, but
I know.
they didn't truck him off. He was no,
he
they
did
didn't
walk.
truck him off. No, he had his arms around two guys.
Still, though, they could just be very careful too. And they say, put your arm around me and do not put any weight on it till we can figure out what it is. Okay,
Right.
there's a difference between that and like not able to get off the field.
Right.
So,
He got himself up on his own.
fingers
And
crossed on Sevy.
yeah.
Yep.
He is a necessity for the Yankees to win.
That's what I thought. Yes.
It was like a dream down the toilet to watch that yesterday.
Me too. I'm telling everybody to go get Severino. He's like the next best thing since sliced bread. I'm like, you got to go get him. Don't spend your money on anybody else. Just go get Severino. He's like the godsend of fantasy baseball.
You did this to us?
Maybe, dude, maybe. Yes, maybe.
Just kidding.
No, you aren't kidding, though. It's no joke.
No, I'm not kidding about the impact of the injury. That's for sure. And we waited so long. You know, it's like the night before your wedding day, and all of a sudden it's called off.
I know.
You don't need like an ace pitcher like Severino, though. You need a guy that can come and pitch 5 innings, okay? Like I would hope a little better than J.A. Happ, but a J.A. Happ type, you know? Those pitchers are out there. And the Yankees, they might be able to find one. You never know.
You know, the Yankees before the season started, when I heard that we got Kluber and Tyone, I was not happy with that to begin with, because of the injuries that they had sustained, because they were question marks. There was no way to know what we were going to get. And here we find ourselves at the point in the season that I was dreading, where we know what we got. Tyone is not going to be successful for us as a starting pitcher, probably, except in spot starts maybe. And Kluber's injured again. So here we are down 2 pitchers. It's kind of the nightmare scenario the Yankee fans thought we were going to face.
Yeah. How are you feeling about Cortez?
I've always liked him, and the mustache just does it for me.
I've never seen him.
You've got to see Nestor Cortez.
I've heard his name. I've never seen what he looks like. I'll have to look him up now.
He does all kinds of different pitching stances. Like he'll throw sidearm. He'll throw. I don't know. He's a funny guy.
He looks like he came from Baltimore. What's he doing now? Is he in the majors or?
He's in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Multiple inning guy.
Did a good job yesterday.
Yeah, he did a good job for us.
He's an effector. You remember effector? He's a multiple inning middle relief guy.
Yep.
Yep. He'd come in after that starter you're talking about.
Think of this. Literally, think of this. The Yankees have such a good, strong bullpen when healthy that they could literally have openers every day and pitch Britton, Cortez. Like there's probably 4 or 5 decent middle relief. They might have the best bullpen strength in baseball. They did at least a couple years ago. They did. I'm not sure.
They did. And I think even in some points this season, I've read that they were the best, but I don't know whether the stats would support that.
Certainly not so at the start of the season that we had the best.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at your depth chart here real quick.
So this is going to sound like a rookie question, but there are some guys in the bullpen that I think might make good openers. Has that kind of switch ever been made? Absolutely.
Chad Green would be
I was
excellent.
just about to say Chad Green is what I had in mind with the
What's
question.
wrong with Loizaga? He's half stretched out probably to be in the rotation. He could be an opener for sure.
Absolutely.
You guys have a lot of depth in your bullpen, and you could make it work with now Zach Britton
so it's not
healthy.
unheard of. Then those are the 2 names right away.
Not at all. Tampa Bay's been doing this for several years, for sure.
You know, Andrea, to circle back to your initial question, one of your initial questions, whether the Yankees would go out and get a starter. The longer we've talked about it, the more it seems like if that was going to happen, I think that there's, with Severino down, and just now that, you know, talking about openers, I just don't see the Yankees going that route. But I could see a starter coming in.
How about like multi-inning reliever?
Right.
Yeah, and the Yankees, this is where the snobbery comes in. Like,
right.
It's them. You know, they're the pride and the power and the pinstripes, and, you know, that's great. But you know what? Be real and do what you got to do to win. And if it's going back to, I mean, I know they got a lot of harsh stuff on them when we tried it out last season, but if that's what's going to work, I mean, they're already jigsawing this season together every friggin' game between the lineup and the Uber back and forthings.
Right.
So let this be an experiment that might actually be valid.
What does the Uber back and forth mean?
Bringing guys up, bringing them back down, bringing them up for a game, bringing them back down.
So which one of these? You have Estevan Florial. I met him in Arizona, Estevan Florial.
Oh, did you?
Took a picture with him, yes, a couple years ago.
How is he? Is he a nice guy?
Yes, he's nice.
Guy?
Doesn't speak great English, but maybe he does now. This was a couple years ago, but
yeah.
Big, he's tall. He looks athletic.
Yeah, but he's not hitting, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Not hitting.
that was Tauchman's problem.
If you guys would have got Taijuan Walker, you would be in a much better position right now.
Absolutely.
And this is the type of thing where, you know, you want Kluber. Kluber's a multiple Cy Young winner. So,
yes,
you know, he's like, if the ceiling is high, it's definitely Kluber has a high ceiling. But a guy like even Robbie Ray or Kevin Gausman would have been a great ad. You could get, you know, I don't know what the San Francisco pitching coaches are doing to their pitchers, but they're doing crazy things with these reclamation projects.
Yeah.
Arizona's sellers. They're sellers. There's a couple of teams that you know are going to be sellers this trade deadline. So
Cashman likes to go to Arizona. He likes to pick that team. That's for sure.
He likes to make trades with that team?
It seems like, yeah. Isn't that where we got Didi from? And who else? Yeah. Didn't Didi come from the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, and did our
I thought he came from
maybe I'm wrong.
He went to Phillies. No, I have no clue what I'm talking about. So
there is a Diamondback. I don't think it's Urshela. Maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, it seems like it would be a good match to go after Robbie Ray. I've always liked him. If that was even a remote possibility, I would say, yeah, jump on that.
I mean, it was a bad idea for me because this guy has replaced walks with home runs allowed. And he's always strikes out a lot of batters in his whole career, but he's always been like really just questionable when it comes to walks. Right now, this guy is giving up, I don't know, a couple home runs every game. Can you imagine what he would be like in Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, no.
It would be a bad idea.
That would be bad.
Ground ball pitchers.
Yep. Yeah, back to Lynn, right?
Oh, absolutely. That would be.
That's what we should have done.
He would be godsend for sure.
Well, ladies, this has been a lot of fun today. Any final thoughts on Yankees win or not today?
What? They're not going to get swept today.
Can the Yankees possibly not get swept today, please?
Is Higgy in the lineup, or does he only catch when Cole is pitching?
Well, Higgy has lost the starting position back to Sanchez, so we've been told. So yeah, he's on the bench today.
Wait a minute, he's what does that mean? So he was doing it full, like he was playing every day for a while?
Well, pretty much they had, Well, Lynn, wouldn't you say they had pretty much said Higgy's our starter about 4 weeks in or something? Sanchez was benched for a bit, but it never lasts. And Sanchez started hitting.
Penny calls it a bromance with Higgy and Cole, a bromance.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna go watch Penny right now.
Lynn tossed in. I always
Thanks
call
for having me,
penny
girls.
hunters. Huh?
I can't believe you know this little Penny. That's awesome.
Yep, definitely. Yankee fans know Penny. Well, thanks again, ladies, for joining us, for joining me today. And thanks all of you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and join us next week. And,
Okay, I hope I didn't talk all the whole time. I feel bad.
No.
Oh, thank you, Andrea.
You're
We
amazing.
so appreciate you coming on and filling us in. Thank you.
Thank you for
And
having
let's go
me.
get it, Yankees.
All right,
Go
go get it,
Yankees.
Yankees. Thanks.